You know, my math, 30, 30 something years, 28 years?
Oh, that's a lot of experience. So I appreciate that. So with the Bureau, from 2012, you've been with the Bureau?
No, I've been in the San Antonio division since 2012.
So
I've been an agent since 2004.
Right, okay,
Yes.
that makes sense. And 10 years before that was with the DPS?
Yes.
Right,
yes.
okay, that because the numbers weren't adding up.
Okay.
I get it. So you said one of the roles that you do, and well, you were an acting team leader at the time of this incident.
Yes, there's a team lead for every crime scene, right? So at that time, I was the acting team because our most senior team leader was gone.
All right, so that's a yes, right?
Yes.
So how many people were in your team?
Our office is pretty big, right? So we have a team up in Austin, we have a team out in McAllen,
Right.
and then we have a team in San Antonio. And so I can't even venture to get, I don't even know how many people are on the team.
Well, no, let me, maybe that's the way I asked that was different. So how many people were on your team at this time?
During the initial response, if I remember correctly, and forgive me, this is 2022, there was probably around 8 to 10.
Yeah, an approximate number is okay. I'm not trying to tie you to
Yeah.
a specific number. Like, so it's not 200. It's 8 to 10 people are on your team.
About that time, yes.
Yeah, because we'll talk about it in time. But some of the search techniques you're talking about, doing line searches and stuff, that is, you need a lot of people to do that effectively.
Sure, the more people, the better.
The more people, the better, because it's detailed and it's intensive work, right?
It's detailed, yes.
Yeah. So there's 8 to 10 people around, right, in your team. And you were supervising this team as an acting lead because the lead was out for whatever reason, right?
Yes.
And it doesn't matter what reason they're out for, but they were out. You were in charge for that time period.
We had other individuals come in from other offices to shore up the number of people that we had initially.
Right.
So in the beginning, the first day, it was a little tougher because we only had so many people.
Right.
But then we had people also come in from the valley, so that's a longer drive. So we had more people later.
So more
Yes.
people came to assist in your crime scene investigation later on.
Sure. Yes.
Right. Okay. So I'm still trying to talk about your experience and your training right now. So you said that you did. You got some training and experience in crime scene reconstruction.
Yes.
Is that correct? Now, the jury's not heard any testimony about that. Do you use any scanners, such as a Leica scan, when you recreate crime scenes?
No, so you gotta understand, when I first started was in 1994, right? So the technology was more basic back then. So a lot of it is just more rudimentary, right? When I was with DPS, that's when I got the bulk of my crime scene reconstruction training.
Right.
We were doing everything with just 1 or 2 or 3 people in the lab, right? Most of our crime scenes were done with just a few people. Now that I'm with the FBI, everything's more specialized. We have more people, more resources. And so there will be somebody doing certain techniques, other people would do certain techniques. Back then, when I first got my crime scene reconstruction training, it wouldn't be strange for an analyst to go and do the photograph themselves, then do the evidence collection, then do the lab work, and then write the report, everything from beginning to end. But we don't do that anymore.
Okay.
I don't do that anymore.
No, and I wasn't suggesting you do. I'm just talking about some of the techniques because my next question was based on whether or not you Leica trained. Was a Leica scan used in this case?
I don't think so. No, not by us.
Not by you.
We were asked to do one thing.
Yeah, and so what I want to do is explain what a Leica scan is. There is technology out there, and I understand your testimony to the jury is that when you did your training, the technology was a bit more, I think, and the techniques were a bit more rudimentary. Is that fair to say? And obviously now you know that law enforcement has access to some devices, and one of them is called a Leica scan, which is a scanning tool that surveyors use, and they use it in construction, right?
We have surveying, so we did a total station scan.
Right.
And we also have scanning equipment that we have, and we did a total station of the whole scene.
Right, okay, so you did a scan in this case.
Yes, like a survey of measurements.
So it's kind of like a Leica, it's slightly different. It would be, you're a man move around?
Sorry?
May I move around the well?
Sure.
So a Leica scan would be, or a total station is something you put on a podium or a plinth or something like this thing here.
Yes.
an easel, it's not an easel, but you put it on something and it will scan an area, correct?
Yes.
And it will identify where things are,
Yes.
and it will note that, and then you put it into a computer system, and later on it will print something out, and it will be a map showing where all the evidence is.
Correct. Correct.
And so a total scan was done in this case, right?
Total station. Yes.
Total station, which is,
Similar.
it's not a Leica. Leica's probably like a brand name.
Yes.
It's the same sort of thing. And that is, it creates a document and it shows where things are after you've marked it, right?
Yes. Yes. That's
Yeah.
correct.
And okay, so you did use that in this case.
Yes.
All right, good. We'll talk about that in a minute. And so one of the things you also spoke about is, I guess when you process a lot of these things, is you're looking for evidence of firearms
Yes.
and ammunition.
Yes. Correct.
And it sounds like in this case, well, in this case you'd agree with me, your focus was on, mostly on spent ammunition,
That's correct.
right? And documenting that.
Yes.
Right, okay. Because I think you said something along the lines of you can glean, and this is where your previous experience comes in, right?
Mhm.
You can glean a lot of evidence from a used cartridge, right?
Yes.
And sometimes that could be in your other focus previously it would be DNA,
Sure.
right? Not so much in this case because we know who shot that gun, right?
That's correct.
Right, because the person who did this was already dead by the time you came and investigated.
That's correct.
Right, so in this case, you weren't investigating a suspect as such.
That's correct.
You were just documenting the scene and for investigatory purposes.
Yes.
So in this case, it's slightly different to others where you're not worried about contamination as much because you're not worried about DNA being washed off of anything.
No, we weren't concerned about DNA.
No, and,
Yeah.
and so that will change how you deal with things slightly, right?
Yes.
Because if you were concerned about DNA, which you weren't, right, hypothetically, there'd be more urgency to do this now, right? To collect it immediately or as fast as possible.
Well, we weren't under any time constraints, right? We still have to go through our process. Long range shot, medium range shot, close up shot. You mark it, you pick it up, you do another close up shot of it. So we weren't under any time constraints.
That's what I mean. So,
Yeah.
so that's what I mean. You weren't under any time constraints because you didn't have the urgency to preserve DNA evidence as such as you would in other cases.
DNA is very stable. Depending on the environment, DNA could last a long time, right?
Okay.
So, but we didn't have that consideration in our minds.
Exactly. So you wouldn't, DNA is stable sometimes. It's funny, you'll hear different people testify to different things about
Yeah.
DNA and how stable it is. But you wouldn't want to get it washed off of an object.
No, correct.
No. So anyway, so in this case, your role was to come and document the scene.
Yes, outside. Outside the school, not inside.
And as outside. Yeah, because where I'm going with thank you, Jason, with that is because the next day it rained. This happened on the 24th, the next day, well, it rained overnight, I should say.
I think it rained that evening.
Yeah.
Because we were in the middle of doing this, and I remember it raining. So I think it was that evening.
We can look at it. I think one of the state's photographs I introduced, you can see this as some inclement weather. So like, yeah, normally that would inform how urgent you are with recovering stuff. But you were doing outside, right?
We were just doing the outside. That's correct.
And so the DNA thing, despite the DNA thing, the shell casings can reveal other things. And you may approach the witness.
Yes, sir.
And I'm going to use states very briefly. I think it's demonstrative 2 again. Bring this over. Because, so, I know you've already explained that, and I think it states 19. How does it feel? Is it 19? Yeah, 19's the shell casings, right?
Yes.
And these are the ones you recovered from the scene.
Correct.
Without going into the packets. And the shell casing, the jury's heard evidence about this before, is just the cartridge. That's the shell casing,
Yes.
right? The projectile gets shot out the barrel, and this cartridge gets ejected out of the weapon,
That's correct.
right? And so, and I think the testimony earlier was that when a weapon recycles, or a firearm is fired,
Mhm.
the firearm pin goes forward, strikes the primer,
Yes.
right? very fast burn, some people call it an explosion, happens, and the projectile gets fired out the barrel.
Correct.
Right? Because of the action of the weapon, it recycles, and the bolt action of the rifle or the weapon brings this cartridge back and it gets ejected out of the weapon.
Correct.
And like you said, we know that with a long weapon, it's to the right-hand side.
Yes.
And it can, how far that projectile or that spent casing can be thrown can depend on a couple of things.
Yes,
Right.
like where it ends up could depend on a lot of different
Depend
things.
on a lot of things.
Yeah.
And so, and what I'm saying is you can find evidence of, on this casing of tool mark. You're familiar with tool mark analysis, right?
Yes.
And so one of those things is the markings. Tool mark analysis, you'd agree, is the markings that are left on, in this instance, the casing by the metal inside that weapon.
Okay,
Right?
so
roughly speaking.
roughly speaking,
Roughly speaking.
yes,
Without
yes.
getting too deep into the science.
Yes,
Roughly
yes.
speaking. Because there will be, the firing pin will leave an individual characteristic.
An indentation on the primer,
Indentation,
yes.
because each firing, it's like a fingerprint for a weapon. Kind of.
Not so much with the firing pin, but
The totality of
yes,
it.
yes.
Because the firing pin will some weapons they'll fire and strike in the same place, and also you'll find some markings that are similar on the cartridge from where the round is getting stripped and spent and shot out of the weapon by the ejector claw or pin.
You could, yes.
And that will, so depending on the configuration of that weapon is one of the factors when how far and where that spent cartridge goes, right?
Sure.
Right. And so, just get rid of that for a second. I mean, like I said, there's lots of variables that can affect that, and I guess certain batches of ammunition can be different from others, right? And so,
Sure.
and that can affect how far a spent cartridge goes, right?
Yes.
But when it comes down to it, you testified that, you know, case location is mostly an educated guess. Would you agree with that?
Depending, yeah, because there's a lot of variables. I
Yeah,
mean,
because of the variable.
Yeah.
And I should say where the case comes to rest is mostly a guess.
It's like an approximation. It's kind of like an educated guess, right?
An educated guess. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. I mean, that's what you said. I'm just using your testimony. You said you can guess how and where the shooter is.
Educated guess. yeah.
Educated. Well, I agree with you. An educated
Yeah.
guess. And it would depend on lots of factors, like you said. I mean,
Sure.
if you're standing on concrete and a round gets expelled, the cartridge gets expelled, it can bounce,
It can bounce.
it can spin,
Sure.
and it will move,
Sure.
right? And if you're firing on grass, maybe it will stand still. It will just drop and sit still.
Yes.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Right, and it's a guess, but you'd agree with me that the grouping of where these rounds end up, when I say rounds, I should say casings.
Casings.
A specific grouping of casings on the ground or on the floor is an indication, the best indication we've got of where the shooter was at the time.
That's a good indicator because it's consistent that, okay, why are all these in the same kind of location?
Yep. And I think you said the shooter is around that radius, is that correct?
Sure.
Right. So I want to talk to you about your work in this scene, if we
Okay.
can. So we've already said that you were the team lead, and I think you said when you first started doing this, did you say you had eight people assisting you?
I think around there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And we'll talk about the actual mechanics of your search in a second. But would it be fair to say that you go to a location, you speak to whoever's in charge, and they give you some parameters and instructions on what to search for,
Sure.
and you do a visual search,
Yes.
and then you'll do a physical search, right?
Yes.
And then while you're doing that, you flag. Is that correct?
Anything out of the ordinary, you would put a marker, you would flag it so you can come back to it later.
Yeah, and you know if I may move, Judge?
Yes.
So you'll and when you say you do a line search, you did a line search in this case, right?
Correct.
And so when you're doing it on concrete, would it be fair to say that someone is in the middle, that's probably the leader?
No, it can be anywhere.
All right, anyone. So you will have a line, correct?
Yes.
And you'll stand line abreast. And you'll advance along a certain area.
Yes.
And I guess on concrete, you're probably standing,
Yes.
right? And when you're moving onto grass, you're probably on your knees, right?
No, we're standing.
Standing all the time?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I've done that where you're kneeling, it's hard work.
You can do that too, depending on the surface that you're dealing with.
Yeah, depending on, because on grass, things might not be as obvious as they are when you're standing, right?
Correct.
Especially if you've got bad eyesight. Right, so you do a line search. Okay, so you do a search. And so when, like you said, you see something out of the ordinary, here you're looking for spent shells, you'll put like a flag down.
Yes.
Because and the reason I ask that is because there's we can see in the state's evidence there's little red flags.
Yes.
And then there's a number card placed next to some of them.
Yes.
Right. And so these are two separate processes, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. So first you walk your area, and I believe Judge, may I approach again? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Let me use the state's demonstrative so we can just confirm this. I think that you said that this is the, obviously we know what we're looking at here. You started your search over by this area here on the left.
That's fenced off.
Yeah.
So we actually started on the grass side of that.
On the inside of it.
Yes.
So your line search would be inside the fence area here that I'm indicating on,
Yes.
on the demonstrative, advancing across the grass area towards the parking lot, right?
Yes.
And so as you're going across there, you're putting red flags or whatever colour they are. They're red in this case.
If you see something.
If you see something.
Yes.
Because obviously you wouldn't do it if you didn't see something.
That's correct.
So, and there's 8 of you doing that. What's up?
We started with 8, but we enlisted other people's help, whoever was standing around to help. So I don't know how many people really.
Yeah.
But we stared with 8.
And I didn't mean to talk over you.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to tie you down to a specific number.
I understand.
Because this is a big area, right? We can agree on that.
Sure.
That's a big scene to go over.
No, that's correct. It was big.
So it's very detailed work.
Yes.
Right? So you walking slowly across here, anyone sees anything, they put a red flag.
Correct.
Okay, and then you've done that, advanced all the way to the building.
Mm-hmm.
Then once you've done that, you then place markers down on significant items.
When you're about to pick up the evidence, if it's something that you think is important. So the red flag just identifies what we need to look at again. The yellow marker with a number is our actual items that we're going to collect. So in the beginning, you could have something that has a red flag on it, but upon closer inspection, that might not mean anything to you.
Right, so you'll put a flag down to see that's something of interest.
Yes.
Then you'll go back and you'll put if you're going to take a photograph of it and preserve it, then you put the card down.
With a number.
With
yes.
a number. And they're the yellow things with a number, right?
Correct.
Okay, cool. And so you do that, and then the next thing you do is you'll document it with photographs.
Correct.
And that's what you did in this case.
Yes.
And after that, having photographed the scene, you then will collect those items.
Yes.
Right. Because I wanted to look at some of these photographs. Bill, can we publish some of these photographs? Is that possible?
Publish them?
Yeah, can you publish them for you? Please, guys? Would you better go to stage 96 first? Could you go to 96 first, please, guys? Yeah. No, it's not good. Let's just go on.
Which one is nice?
I don't know.
Oh, he needs to know what exhibit number.
You're right.
I'll get a. Sorry, Judge, can I approach? Sorry, just did it anyway.
No, go ahead.
Sorry.
No. He needs to know. They're not marked on there.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I'm going to put this map up again. So having established how your process, I want to look at some photographs here so we can see what we can deduce from the scene, right? So we're waiting for, I think the first picture we're going to look at has been previously marked as States Exhibit 96. So while we wait for the photo to be put up on the screen,
Okay.
I'll show you what's been marked as Stakes 96.
Yes.
Right, and so I'll show you. This is Stakes 96. We're going to show it on the screen in a second. So, you know, I made a witness come down and mark on the demonstrative where this is located.
Yeah, is that in evidence or not?
This is, yeah, so is this. They're both in evidence, just. This has been admitted, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, do you want to mark on the
No,
chart?
just to show. Can you
Okay.
show whereabouts on the diagram here this is oriented?
Okay, so in this picture, you'll see the AC behind the fence,
So it's here, right?
and it's right here.
So this would be fair. So there we go. I think that's it there, right?
Yes.
There we go. Cool.
Okay, can I see the picture?
So we'll wait till we get it up.
Okay.
There you go. Right. Okay. So we are. So that you'd agree this is the southwest corner of the building, right?
Yes.
And I think that what we can see on the photograph there are these are AC units. You were there, right?
Yes.
And they're big industrial ones, probably about 4 feet tall. Approximately.
I've seen bigger, but yes, they're big. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. And so what we can see in the photograph here, if I approach, that's where we know it is. Are during your search and your line search, somebody has identified with red flags evidence that needs to be recovered, right?
Yes.
And then 3, 4, and 5 are the numbers that they're given, and they're probably projectiles we're going to see next. And then in a similar area, right?
Yes.
So, and in the background we can see this thing that's been described as a pavilion, and we can see one police car. That's a police car. It's a white vehicle. You were there,
I
right?
think, yes.
Yeah. But so if this, and again, we don't, depending on the weapon characteristics and the ammunition, we don't know how far away the person was who fired this, but it'd be fair to say that if these rounds are found here, these cartridges are found here, whoever fired them would be to the left of it somewhere, right?
Well, it depends on like where you shoot, right? Because here you see the round sitting there. What if the person was shooting that direction and the ejection goes this way? Well, you don't know. I can't tell what
Okay.
direction
Well,
the shooter was at.
Let's talk about that then.
Yeah.
So for them to be here, right, the person would either have to be over here, to the left of it.
Can I stand up here for a
Of course you can. If the judge allowed that, Judge?
Sure. So, if you have a round here, so the person could be pointing this way, or that way, or that way, or that way, as long as the ejection port, as long as this is to the side of it, right? So you can't tell just from looking at this what direction the person was facing. You understand what I'm
I do, and that's what I'm going to show you some more photographs, but let me get. So what my point of this is, well, I want to talk about that first, right?
Okay.
So I agree with you, you're correct. So the person who fires these rounds could be standing to the left of these cartridges, right? That's a possibility.
Yes.
And as you pointed out, the person who fired those rounds could also be firing them in that direction, up the side of the building.
Yes, I can't tell.
You can't tell. And they could, for them to be here, they could also be standing on here, firing them off into the distance that way.
Sure.
Right, that's possible. But this isn't the only photograph we took, right? So I want to look at some more. That's
Okay.
possible.
Yes.
Okay? Yeah. So you look at 102 next, which is, I think, is a closer up version of that. Because, Agent, one of the things, while we queue up the evidence, one of the things that we, one of the things that you testified to, this isn't an exact science, what we're talking about, the grouping of cases on the floor, right?
It's not exact.
It's not.
No.
So the best thing that you have is your educated guess.
Yes, if you look at You have to look at the whole scene.
Exactly. And,
Yeah.
and I didn't mean to interrupt you, but what I'm saying is your educated guess is informed by the characteristics of the weapon, right,
Mhm.
and the ammunition it's using, right,
Yes,
and also by the grouping of these cartridges on the floor.
that's part of it, yes.
Yeah, and it's because, I mean, I guess someone could have, did you know if anyone test-fired this weapon?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know.
Because, for example, it is possible, and it does happen, right? You'd agree that sometimes these weapons that are found at scenes are test-fired?
Yes, if you're going to do ballistics, you have to test fire the weapon.
For ballistic analysis, that's right. But in this case, it could be, if somebody wanted to get a more informed, educated guess, this weapon could be fired and the ejection of the cartridges could be measured, right? Based on this weapon, because the weapon has individual characteristics, right?
Yes,
And there's class and individual characteristics when we're talking about firearms tool marks, right?
yes,
Without going into that, an individual characteristic is this thing, going from my approach, is where the ejector leaves a mark on the shell casing, right?
yes,
So as this casing comes back, it will get ejected out of the weapon, whether it's a handgun or a long weapon, and the ejector will oftentimes leave the claw, or whatever you want to call it, will leave a mark on this, a tool mark on this shell.
it could.
It
Yes.
could, it could. Sometimes it does, and that,
Yeah.
that people look at that. And that specific ejector claw or hook will influence the way the shells come out of that weapon,
It could.
right? So one thing that could be done, but it wasn't done, you didn't do it, right, because that wasn't your job.
Yeah, that's
No.
out of what I
I know it
out
wasn't,
of
but
scope.
but it is outside the scope of what you were doing because you were looking at the scene and preserving that. But somebody could later on have test-fired the weapon in a controlled environment, similar to this one, maybe on concrete, to see how far and where the rounds were flying after the weapon had been ejected in a cartridge. And just a second. Yeah, and so which one is this? This is 102. Right, and this is 102. And Judge, may I approach the TV again? So this is a different angle, and I guess, Agent, here, just if I can orient you on this big map here, Agent over here, is, will you agree with me, we're looking at this area, like kind of parallel to the south of the building.
Yes, along the AC units.
Yeah, and because we can see the AC units here.
Yes.
Right, we can see the AC units here. We've got a flag, a red flag, if somebody's walked in close to something of interest, and a shell. The shell casing is number 6, right?
Correct.
So, what somebody couldn't be doing is that they can't be firing that way and the round going to the left of them, right? That's not the way that firearm works.
No, the ejection ports are on the right side.
Yeah. So either they're firing this way and it's going out to the right. Is that right? Or they're somewhere to the left of this and it's being ejected to the right.
Well, you can't tell because somebody could be standing to the left of the shell and fire that way, or they could be standing to the.
They could be standing somewhere in this. This is a parking lot to the left here, right?
Yeah,
Let's look-
looking at the shell itself, you can't tell what direction the person was shooting. You would have to look at the entire scene in total.
And you'd look at the groupings, right?
That's part of it. That
That's
goes
part.
into the equation. Yes.
Because we weren't there, right? So we don't know.
Yes.
So all we can do is follow the evidential trail and make deductions from it.
Sure.
Right. Okay. So what we're seeing here is we're looking down this path, this pathway that goes around the south of the building. You agree with that?
Yes.
And here on the top left-hand side of the photograph, we see these AC units.
Yes.
Right. So it is possible that the person who fired this shot, this expended cartridge, was in this parking lot somewhere. Right.
That's a long ways for it to eject.
Well-
the parking lot is pretty far away from where that sidewalk is.
Remember what we said, but what is this thing here that's, what is this made of here? This
That's concrete.
concrete.
Yes.
So if an expended cartridge bounces on grass, what will it do probably?
It'll probably stay in the grass.
Okay. If something lands on concrete, what's an ejected cartridge possibly going to do?
It could bounce, it could
bounce.
roll, or it could stay where it's at, depending.
It could bounce, it could roll, it could spin, right?
Sure.
It could keep traveling. Right?
Yes.
Can we look at 107, please? So what we're looking at now, Agent, is states 112, sorry. Right? You
Yes.
know that one? Okay, and so just to orient ourselves on this, the map here, this is the same view as the last one, but further away, right?
Yeah, that helps, yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a further back view, because you do like long range, medium range, then close, then super close, right?
Yes, it gives you a different perspective.
So this, I'm going to show you, I'll hand you the photograph here. You can see that there's multiple red flags with evidence being collected, right?
Yes.
Up here. So again, you'd agree this is kind of an indication this is a group of where the spent cases are?
Yes.
Right, and again, it's not an exact science where the weapon was fired, but it's an indication.
Yes.
And you'd agree with me that these spent cartridges, well, how many do you see? One, probably 6, 7 in that photograph, right?
Yes.
Are all in a line just on the edge of this paved concrete parking lot.
Yes.
You'd agree with that, right?
Yes, of course.
So one of the things that we can deduce from this photograph is we're looking at this, is that the shooter could be to the left of that.
Sure.
Right. We don't know how far because we haven't test fired the weapon. We don't know anything about the power of the ammunition other than what rating it is. So it's possible they're on the left-hand side, right?
Correct.
So this would be consistent, or this could corroborate evidence that the person might be to the left-hand side of this SUV here, right?
I wouldn't say, I mean, they're somewhere, but to me, it looks like they could be behind the SUV. I don't know if they're to the left of the SUV.
Yeah, okay, so they could be behind the SUV, so if we
Yes.
say the SUV is here, around here somewhere, right?
Sure.
Yeah. They could also be to the left, maybe, depending. If we, and again, like I said, we don't know, but if there had been, the weapon had been test fired, we could have a better educated guess of where that rounds would have been fired from, right?
Sure.
Right. Yeah. And by the same token, what it can't be based off this evidence, right? Where the shooter cannot be based upon where the breadcrumbs, if you like, of evidence are, the trail of evidence are, is to the right-hand side of these rounds. Because the cartridge, and I didn't mean to give you more back, I'm sorry, gets ejected to the right,
Yeah.
correct?
So if you look at the totality of this, and the broken glass is over there where the windows are broken and shot through,
Yep.
then chances are the shooter's on the left side because the rounds are getting ejected out the right of the weapon.
So let's talk about that for a second, that's interesting. So, and what you're alluding to is, we'll look at a different photograph, but I want to pick up on that. I appreciate that, Andy. So when you're saying broken glass, you're talking about on this side of the building.
You look
Right.
at the entire picture,
Yep.
and so in order to get a better picture of where these rounds could have been shot, in what direction, if there's no bullet holes or bullet damage on the, like where the white car is, then you can generally assume that it's not being shot in that direction. But if you're looking at these bullets and you see the broken glass, then I'm not saying that that's exactly how it happened, but you kind of can deduce this could be the track that he was going towards the school, shooting at the school.
And I appreciate that, Agent. We're going to talk about all of it. If I could just bring your attention back to the map here.
Mhm.
So let's talk about that, because there was a lot that you just said then, right? I want
Yes.
to talk about it. It's important. So you said we've got. I agree. We hear in law enforcement. We hear the phrase, or you hear the phrase in criminal investigations, totality of circumstances, right?
Sure.
And I agree. We've got to look at the totality of the evidence, and I agree with you that the indication is from your evidence is that, and the broken windows that we saw in some of the other state's exhibits. We can look at those, but the jury's already seen those. There are broken windows on the west side of this building.
Yes.
That appear to have been shot out by a round, which is possibly by these spent cartridges, right?
Sure.
And that's all along this building. So I agree with you that this is more of an indication of rounds that have been shot into this building, right? What we're seeing on that physical evidence up there that's been admitted.
You can't say for sure, but the indication looks like that could be, yes.
And that's 112. State's exhibit 112.
Is that 112?
Yeah, I think
Yes.
so, yeah. And because, like you said, there is no physical evidence that you found over here towards this area here, the pavilion or these vehicles, right?
Correct.
And because I wanted to talk to you about that next, the other thing I wanted to talk to you about. You said that you did several line searches, right?
Yes.
Because I guess that, is it the case that whoever is you, the team leader or someone else, devises a search plan?
Yes.
And you'll say, we're going to search from west to the school first, right?
Yes.
Maybe with the boundary on here, and then maybe you'll break up another sector later.
Yes.
And then you'll define that search area, and then you'll keep breaking it up into sectors.
Yes.
And like I said, that's what it's kind of painstaking,
It is.
because you have to walk slowly, maybe like that, looking at the ground, keep it in line with everyone,
Yes, correct.
so that nobody misses anything. If someone sees something, we stop.
Yes.
Someone gets a flag, you flag it.
Yes.
Okay, then we keep moving.
Yes.
And you keep doing that. And in fact, I think the testimony was that you did it from sort of like Grove along Geraldine to the school, right? First?
Well, the fence line
The
and
fence
the
line.
grass.
Got it. The
Yeah.
fence line is here inside this culvert, but
Yes.
the fence line here. But then you also did it from the south north, right?
Yes.
And you did it. Did you go left to right, from north, south to north, and left to right?
We did so many directions, and we did it multiple times. Because after you do a search, you think, okay, we just did a line search. But then somebody will walk by and go, oh, there's another round.
Yeah.
So now we have to do it again.
Right.
So we did it multiple times.
So you did it multiple times.
Yeah.
You did it multiple times, but you didn't find any evidence of any shells being fired over here to the south of the building.
No,
No evidence at all.
that we saw, no.
The only evidence that you found of any shells being fired or a weapon being fired was consistent with it being fired into that building, right?
When we looked at it, now when we were on the back side, can I show the,
Yes, sir.
okay, so if you take a look at the building where the windows were shot out, that's the west side. The east side of that building, there's some broken windows too. But when we went, we didn't see any shells, right? But we saw the bullet holes.
Okay, cool. I'm going to put a different picture up so we can get a visual on that. Yeah. 86. Can we put 86 on? Because that's important what you're saying, Agent. I want to talk about that because you actually found some, Agent. If I could bring your attention to this, you actually found a couple of non-spent cartridges, right? A round of ammunition in a couple of places around.
Yeah, we found that too.
Found two, right?
Two or three.
Two or three, and you, while we wait for the picture to come up, you'd agree that they appear to be different.
Correct.
Right. So these ones are all just, the ones we've got here were, that you took the photographs were just brass, and they were brass coloured.
Yes.
And I think the ones, there we go, we'll look at this in a second. The other ones they were a black jacket.
Only one of them was.
One of them was a black jacket, so
Yes.
it indicates a slightly different brand, right?
Yes.
And can you show the jury again where you found that on the map?
Okay.
Judge, can you bring this approach?
So item 14 was found around this area along the sidewalk.
Yep.
Item 15 was found around this part of the funeral home. There's a parking lot here. It was found in the grass around this area.
Okay, I appreciate it. So, and these, which one? Do you remember which one was the black jacketed round?
I don't remember. I have to take a look, but I
Well,
don't.
one of them is different. That's
Yeah.
fine. So, and I wanted to look at this approach to the television again. So, because this gives us a better overview. This is, so you were saying this is the west side of the building, right?
Yes.
Okay, and this is the building in question. And so, would it be correct to say that where I'm indicating now is the east side?
Yes.
And so, you found what? Would you describe it as a defect or just a broken window?
We thought there were bullet holes.
Bullet holes.
Yeah.
So, it could be a couple of things, right, going on there.
Yeah.
Because we don't know. But it could be with this kind of ammunition that what is consistent, I don't need to give you my back, is that you said that this is the same parking lot we're talking about, right?
Yes.
And you didn't find any evidence of any rounds being fired over here towards the south.
Yes.
Right, I don't mean to give you my back,
Oh,
right?
that's okay.
But it could be the over penetration, a round being fired from the west coming out the east.
It could be. There's a hallway
Yeah.
in between, and doors and walls. So to me, I don't know if that would be, from this side.
Or could be fired inside.
Or it could be, sure.
It could be that. I mean, we don't know, but that ammunition is certainly powerful enough to penetrate a building, right? If it goes through glass, it could certainly penetrate that whole building. Possibly.
Possibly.
We don't know.
Yeah.
But it could certainly penetrate from inside out.
I didn't go into the building at that point.
Because you did outside, right?
Yes.
And I guess I haven't asked you yet, but you searched this courtyard area here, right?
Yes,
And you didn't find any evidence of any firing outside there.
we didn't know.
So when I say evidence of firing, I guess we'd be looking at like the spent casing again.
If I remember correctly, yes, no,
Yeah.
none of the cases. We saw bullet holes in the window.
Right. So one of the last questions I want to ask you is after we spoke, you just I want to pick up what you said about there, about the rounds that have possibly been fired inside that building. Did you do any kind of trajectory analysis?
We didn't do trajectory, no.
You didn't? Because trajectory analysis would inform us to know by finding where a defect, so let's talk about a defect. A defect is where, or an apparent defect is the terminology that you would use to say this is apparently a hole or damage that could have come from a fired weapon, right?
Yeah, we didn't have access to the inside of the building, so that limited what we could do. And so we only looked for the evidence on the outside.
I
That's it.
know you did, but what I'm saying is to fully inform us to say, hey, these holes in this window go to this hole somewhere else would be to do a trajectory analysis.
That would help.
It's
Yeah,
kind of like
it could
wheel
help.
path analysis where you would, it's almost like geometry, finding where the hole is and you backtrack to see where the round could have been fired from.
Sure.
But that wasn't done,
I don't know.
because that wasn't your remit.
No.
But what we do know is that there were no spent shell casings found on the south of that building, right?
Yeah, we didn't find anything on that side.
Oh.
Or I think the east and the south.
And you didn't find any in the field from the line search from the culvert inside the fence towards the building, right? Let's look at the other
No.
map.
So if you're talking about the field between,
This one here, that I'm
Yes.
indicating here.
no, we didn't find.
You didn't find
anything
any
there.
there? No, you didn't find any on the way here. They were just focused on this parking lot, and you didn't find any on the south, right?
Correct,
Just to confirm.
Yes.
Thanks, Agent. I appreciate it. Got no further questions. Pass the witness.
Agent, I don't know if I need to show you the picture. I will if I need to. You did, your testimony was, I believe, that exhibit number 6, casing number 6, seemed too far to be from the parking lot. There was one exhibit that you said that.
Looking at that perspective, I mean, I couldn't see the parking lot from that picture, but if you look at it this perspective, I can see that, it could be. It's just a matter of perspective. I need to take a look at all the pictures together.
Maybe if you took a look back, can you tell us where exhibit 6 was on that photograph? about,
But like, somewhere around here, there's a metal plate in the sidewalk. And so here's the parking lot. The ground was somewhere around here. You know, if the person, I mean, if you're saying, if you're tying this to the broken window, because you got to look at the totality of everything. If you're thinking that maybe the guy was shooting here, for somebody that's standing here for the round to be there, it's a little bit difficult.
okay. May I approach her?
Sir.
So if, my understanding is you have casings along here all the way up to here, is that correct?
I think so, yes.
And I'm not talking about direction because you said we're not saying 1 through 6.
Yeah.
I'm saying over here all the way up to here somewhere.
Yes.
Is that correct? And those can be shot, and it helps you a little bit if you know where the bullet ends up, right?
Yes.
I mean, if I'm shooting this way, then if it rejects right, the casing will be
I
there.
object to leading judge.
Is that?
Sustain, to rephrase it.
Could you tell us how the impact a bullet has on an object helps you place where a casing is?
Yeah, it sort of gives you a line, right? Because in order to have a line, what do you need? 2 points, right? So if you have a point of impact and you have a casing, you can use that to approximate, hey, that's your 2 points to make a line. What direction was the shot being taken, okay?
And if a shot is being fired into an open field,
Yeah, that's a lot more difficult because now you don't know because you're not going to have an impact. So how do you know where the direction is where the shot's being taken? You only have the location of your casing. Where's your other point to see where it went?
so if we have impacts in the windows and we have casings along here, that can help you. Is that
Yes,
correct?
yes.
If you have casings here, does that tell you if that the impacts in the windows came from those casings, or if those casings could be a result of firing into a field?
Well, you don't know, but your best guess would be that it was being shot into the window because you have a broken window.
If you have casings over here, would they explain the broken window?
Sure.
If they explain the broken window, then these casings could be fired into an open field.
They could.
And if you have impact over here, could that also tell you what direction he was shooting?
Sure, because now you have 2 points, right? You have your casing and you have an impact spot. 2 points can make a line.
But you didn't look for impact points, you looked for casings.
We were looking for casings. We didn't have much access to the school itself, so we tried to stay out of the Rangers' way. Texas Rangers were the lead agency.
So Brent, the Texas Rangers would be looking for impact along these other windows.
They had access to all the buildings.
Or other, I said windows, but I mean other buildings, parts of buildings, they would look
Yeah.
for those.
They had access to the buildings. We were focused on the field and on the grass and outside.
Sure. And so casings plus impact would give you a better decision as to where those bullets were going.
Sure.
And that sometimes takes not just your testimony, but somebody else's.
Sure.
And the one thing, though, about these 21 casings, can you tell us, does that indicate to you there's been 21 explosions?
Those are the casings we found.
That means a fired bullet, correct?
Mhm.
Which makes a sound
Yes.
and alerts law enforcement.
So 21 casings means there were at least 21 shots because there could have been more. I mean, if we didn't find it, then we don't have it, right?
Right.
But 21 casings means there was 21 shots at least.
Okay. And you've been around gunshots?
Sure?
Audible?
I'm going to object to leading judge.
Are they audible?
Overruled.
Yes.
Pass the witness.
If I may, very briefly, Adrian. Judge, my approach,
Yes.
very briefly. So I think you said that, so we're looking at state 6, right? I think, well, we're not. We're looking at let's look at what we've got here. So your testimony is that your best guess is that these casings that were found to the southwest side of this parking lot here were fired into this building based on the evidence, right?
My best guess is that because there was a trail of casings,
Yeah.
that the person was going that direction.
Yeah.
Now, if you look at the whole scene, if you see impacts, then you gotta say, okay, where am I gonna attribute that to? Where can I attribute it to? What are the possibilities, right? And so that could be a possibility, yes.
Because you're just one piece of this whole part. Like Mr. Turner said, your testimony is the jury's gonna put it together with others. Because we know that unfortunately, eventually the shooter enters this doorway here. You know that, right?
I learned that later, yes.
Yeah, so you know that?
Yes.
So it's possible this person is traveling, shooting these windows before he enters through that door, right?
Sure.
Okay. And so the prosecutor talked to you about this walkway here, right? Do you know the distance between roughly, I don't mean to give you my back, Adrian, between the end of the building and that walkway?
Not off the top of my head,
You don't?
no.
Okay, we did, no. Can
No.
you give me an estimate?
Looking at that, okay, if you take a look at the length of the cars are probably about 15, 20 feet, depending on so maybe about, how far to where?
The end of the building to this walkway here.
Okay, so it's about the length of a car, maybe about 10, 15, 12 feet, something like that.
Okay, fair enough. And so I wanted to pick up on something. Do you mind if I can do it from here. So hypothetically, right, the prosecutor was saying, because you didn't have access to the buildings, right?
No.
So you didn't have any access to these buildings. The prosecutor talked about, if rounds went over here, right?
Yeah, good, yes.
I think he pointed to the top of the screen. I think that's what he did. So to know, let's pretend for a minute there was a round that went from here. Without
Okay.
doing a trajectory analysis, I guess, that could have come from here, could have come from here. We just don't know, right?
Yeah,
Because, like we said, the best guess is that from your evidentiary examination of the scene and the clues that were left behind is that these rounds were fired into this building.
it could have been, yes.
And we also know you didn't find any evidence of shots being fired on the east side of the building, right?
That's correct.
But you found evidence of bullet holes either exiting or entering these windows here on the east, right?
There were bullet holes in the windows, yes.
In the windows. So you don't know if they're coming in or out from the building, right?
That's correct.
But what we do know is you didn't find any evidence of shots being fired in.
That's correct.
So we could possibly deduce from that shots are being fired out, right?
That's correct.
Okay. And so if rounds are being fired from inside this building, they could be going anywhere, right?
Sure, I was not in the building.
Right. From my approach again, Judge. So my last question to you, Adrian, is so on this overview, we can agree that, roughly speaking, most of the shell cases were found along this border of the parking lot.
I don't remember if it's most,
A lot.
because there were quite a few along the windows.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. There were quite a few under these windows.
Yeah.
Because you probably didn't recover everything that was fired because you did it outside, right?
We recovered whatever casings we found on the outsides. We recovered.
And a lot of them were close up to the building.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And there was, roughly speaking, a group of casings on the south end of this parking lot.
Yeah. So out of the 21, I think there were about 6 or 7 from there, somewhere around there.
I'll take that. That's,
Yeah.
that's fair enough. Yep. So what we do know is that your best guess is they're fired into this building here.
Well, based on the broken windows,
Yeah.
but that's, I don't have any more information than what I saw there at that point.
But you didn't find any spent cartridges to the right of this parking lot, did you? Further down to the south.
No, I don't think we found anything further south.
You found nothing further south of
Yeah.
this. Nothing further south of this at all.
I don't think so.
All right.
Mhm.
So the cartridges that are found in this parking lot cannot be the result of someone firing that way further south, right? Because that's not that.
Can you
would be-
rephrase that?
So these this is where your 6 or 7, I think you said,
Yes.
spent cartridges were found in a rough group down here.
Correct.
And a rough group is going to give you an indication, I'm sorry about that, of where the shooter was, right?
Yes.
And it's generally to the right-hand side of where the shooter was.
Generally, yes.
Generally the shells are generally to the right-hand side of where the shooter was.
Yes.
Right? So if the shells are here, and your best guess is that they've been fired into these windows because of the defects and the holes in the windows,
Sure.
right? Then those shells can't be the result of someone firing further to the right, because you would have found shell casings further to the right, correct?
So
Further south?
I can't tell where all of the shots went. Correct, right? I can't tell that. But if you, I mean, I don't even know how many bullet holes went into the window, right? So out of those 7 shots, I can't give you a number of how many were shot towards the window, or I can't rule out either if any were shot out. All I can say is we saw casings and we saw broken windows. So you have to be limited to what you can say, right? I can't just make the leap and say, well, there were 3 shot this way and 3 shot that way, and I don't know. So we have to be measured a little bit in what we can say. So we have a grouping of casings, and we have broken windows. Basically, that's about what we can say. With what my role was, I was not able to see inside the building. To go inside the building and see, okay, let's count how many impacts hit the wall, right? So I don't know.
So Agent, I don't mean to be rude, but I'm kind of asking for a yes or no question. You
Yeah.
understand that, right?
Mhm.
Okay. So you said a lot there, so I'm going to ask you some more questions. Right?
Sure.
So it's yes or no, right? Okay. Your evidence you collected, in your professional opinion, it looks like there's a group of spent cartridges at the bottom end, the south end of this parking lot. Right?
Yes.
That's a yes. And so your best guess based on this evidence is that those rounds were fired into these buildings.
Yeah, most likely, yes.
Most likely. Because maybe it was me, I wasn't asking you where the rounds went.
Okay.
I wasn't asking that. I was asking where the cartridges landed. Because we can agree that when someone fires a weapon, it's a right-handed weapon. In this case, right, I don't mean to point at you, the shell casing gets ejected to the right-hand side.
Yes.
Right? So if somebody is firing a weapon, let's say down here, to the south here, it's most likely, based on physics and what we know about firearms, that the cartridge is going to get ejected to the right-hand side to where I'm standing, somewhere around there.
Yeah, because the ejection port's on the right.
Because the ejection port's on the right,
Mhm.
and the ejector claw's on the right, and it pings the cartridge out. So you'd have found, if somebody was standing here, let's say where I'm indicating here to the south of the building, we would expect to find evidence to the right-hand side of it, further south. Maybe.
Yeah,
right?
could be.
And you didn't.
Correct.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Yes, sir, please. I'd like to focus on just one cartridge casing,
Okay.
the one you found the farthest north,
The one on the sidewalk?
over by the parking lot.
Yes.
I think it's number 6, okay? Would you turn to, it'll be slide 19.
Bill, what exhibit is that?
19?
Slide 19 or exhibit 19?
Slide 19.
What number that is?
It's in evidence.
It's in evidence.
Huh?
It's in evidence. Which one? What exhibit is it?
I'm sorry.
What exhibit number?
I think this is exhibit 102.
Okay.
And slide 19 shows the casing, correct?
Number 6, out of number 6.
Casing number 6,
Yes.
correct?
And I believe the defense has been saying, if you have a right ejecting weapon, then you have to be to the left and forward, in general terms of that, correct?
Depends on where the person's shooting.
If they're shooting this direction,
Mhm.
then they would have to be further up and to the left. If the ejection goes over your right shoulder, as he was speaking.
It doesn't go over your right shoulder. It goes out to the right.
Okay.
If you're holding if you're holding a gun like this, your ejection port's right here, to the right. So now it doesn't go backwards behind your shoulder, over your shoulder, right? It just goes to the side.
And they all go exactly perpendicular?
Well, it could be like a little bit, I wouldn't say exactly perpendicular, but generally speaking, out to the right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so if you're shooting straight down this line, it would be straight to the right,
Mm-hmm.
perpendicular. If you're shooting further to the right, then it would be going further back, right?
Well, I,
Let's
okay.
do it- Let's do it this way.
All right.
Let's do it this way. There's a casing here.
Okay.
Can it land here if I'm shooting this direction?
Sure.
Can it land there if I'm shooting this direction?
Sure.
Can it land here if I'm shooting this direction?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And if there's no buildings in this direction, there's no way to tell if we're shooting that direction.
That's correct.
And if there is a defect on a building here, that tells us it could be where you're shooting.
Yes.
And if there's defects here, you could be shooting there.
Yes.
Which do you pick?
You just, I mean, you don't know. You can't say.
Could witnesses help?
Yes. Just from that, you can't tell, but when you, the totality, right? We both sides talked about it.
So we
The
want to
totality of it.
we want to listen to witnesses.
Yes.
They can tell us where somebody's standing.
Sure.
Pass the witness.
One question for me, Judge. May I approach?
Yes.
So, let's use questions as an example. So if there's a shell case in there and I'm pointing that way, right? And the weapon, the jack's on the right-hand side, right? The shell case is there, I can't be pointing that way, can I, if the shell casing is there?
Not if that shell casing came from that shot that you took from there.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, because there's no evidence on the south side of the building, we can deduce from that that no one was firing south of the building in that direction. Possibly.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Pass the witness.
One last question. That's where the casing originally lands. Does foot traffic affect that?
If the foot traffic hits it, yes.
And was there foot traffic at Robb Elementary on May 24, 2022?
Oh, it was kind of crazy. Yes.
Hundreds of officers,
There was quite a few. I've never seen that many before at one time. Yes.
and you don't get to cordon off the crime scene until after the crime's over.
That's correct.
So for as long as hours, there can be foot traffic from a number of officers.
I wouldn't say hours because we got there kind of quick. Like an hour. It took us an hour and 15 to get there to mobilize. Well, I guess hours it means more than 2. Yes. It could be. Could be.
A couple of hours, that's fair enough. I'm not
Yes.
trying to stretch it, I just want to, okay. Pass the witness.
Anything else?
Very briefly, Judge. The prosecutor's talking about foot traffic, and I guess what we would call that contamination of a scene, right?
Sure.
I'm not suggesting that in this case because there were a lot of people there. And if I may approach the diagram, Judge, if I may very briefly. So there's a lot of foot traffic. We know there's 374 officers there at some point, right?
There was quite a few. Yes.
Well, and there's lots of emergency responders, lots of people on this scene.
That's correct.
Right. So the prosecutor's talking about one shell casing.
Yes.
Right, one shell casing. But even with all this foot traffic and even this, I'm not suggesting the scene was disturbed, but let's go with the prosecutor's example, right? Because he wants to talk about it, I'll talk about it as well. Despite that, there are still no casings found on the south of this building.
Correct.
And it wouldn't be lined up like that, right? So it could, because sometimes the shell casings get stuck in people's boots,
Sure.
tyres,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
Thanks, Adrian.
Mhm.
Passwords.
That's all.
Recall is,
No, sir.
okay, sir, you're not subject to recall. The rule has been invoked in this case, so please don't talk about it until you know the trial's over with.
Thank you, sir.
Your next one is
State calls Lynn Deming.
Would you raise your right hand for me, please? You do solemnly swear the evidence and the testimony you're to give in this cause will be the truth, so help you God. You have a seat over here. Make the microphone comfortable for you and speak up so everybody can hear you.
Yes, sir.
You may proceed.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Ms. Deming. I said your name, but please state your full name for the record.
Lynn Deming,
And Ms. Deming, where are you currently employed?
Legacy Elementary.
Okay. And what is your job position?
I'm a STEM teacher, 3 through 5th grade.
And what is Legacy?
It's the new campus, formerly Rob, so it's the new campus.
For which school district?
Uvalde, CISD.
Okay. In May of 2022, where were you employed?
Rob Elementary as a 4th grade teacher.
Okay. And what camp? Oh, you said Rob Elementary. Okay. And how long had you been working at Rob Elementary?
At that time, I think 6 years.
Okay. And what grades were you teaching?
4th grade.
And how long had you been an employee of the Uvalde Independent School District?
6 years.
Okay. What was your room number at the time of May of 2022?
104.
Okay. And I'm going to, Judge, may the witness get up and approach the board?
Yes.
Was that low point? I'm going to ask you to show the jury on this board. This is a map of Robb Elementary. Would you agree?
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am.
And can you show the jury where on this map is the 4th grade building?
This building, ma'am.
Okay. And where on this building on this map was your classroom?
Somewhere in this area.
Okay. Sounds good. You can have a seat. And again, what was that classroom number?
104.
104. Now, have you received training as to lockdown procedures?
Yes, ma'am.
And can you explain to the jury and for the record what those procedures were in May of 2022 for the Uvalde Independent School District?
Lights, lock out of sight, so you lock lights out of sight, sorry. So you lock your door, be sure your door's locked. You turn your lights off and cover your windows, and you hide.
Okay, and who provided that training to you?
Admin, I'm sure. I don't necessarily remember exactly.
And was that the training, the same training that was provided to the students?
Yes.
Okay, and how often did you receive that training? Was it once a year, twice a year?
We had to do lockdown drills. I don't know how many times that's
Okay.
required.
Okay. So with regard to those lockdown trainings, you said lights out, lockdown, and what are the kids specifically trained to do?
Hide and get quiet. So depending on where your room was, depending on where you wanted your kids to hide and just get quiet.
Okay. Now, you told us where your room was. Can you explain to the jury, when you walked into your classroom, what did we see? Where was your desk? Where were the windows? Things like that.
Directly walking into my classroom to the right, there was a long desk that was connected to the wall, and then my desk was at the corner, sort of in front of that, but it was long. Across, directly when you walked in, was a wall of 2 windows, basically, and I had bookshelves there. And then my students sat pretty much in dead center of the classroom.
Okay. Did you have covers on the windows?
There were blinds on the window. I usually kept them open just
Okay.
to get sunlight.
Okay. I'm going to take you back now to May 24th of 2022.
Yes, ma'am.
What were your normal work hours on that day?
Just a regular school day, so 7:30 to 4.
Okay. And on that day, was there something specific going on, something special going on for the day?
The award ceremony was that day.
Okay. And what time was your award ceremony?
I don't remember specifically. It was before lunch.
Okay. And after the award ceremony, what did y'all do?
We went back to the classroom. It was sort of, a lot of students leave during award ceremony, after award ceremony. So you kind of just have sort of a fun day. I had set up stations for my students, so some of them were playing Legos, there were board games. We used Minecraft to do math, sort of math things, so I had some students playing Minecraft. And then I had like an art station where they could paint or draw.
Okay. Did y'all have plans to go outside or anything?
We were going to go to recess about 10 minutes early. I had a student that left half a day. He only stayed at school half a day. So we were going to wait until he went and then go to recess about 10 minutes early.
Okay. And about approximately what time did you get your kids ready to go outside?
Probably around 11:20, somewhere in that vicinity. I don't know exactly.
And what were your instructions to your students regarding going outside?
They were going to line up, and we were going to walk, just out to the playground where we normally went.
Okay. And this is, you were taking all the students at the same time?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, once you get them ready to go outside, and they're starting to go outside, what happened?
We were walking out of the building, and one of my students said she left her water bottle in the classroom. So I just sort of opened the door and put my foot in front of the door, and I said, just run in and get your water bottle, it's okay. And I told the students just to keep walking out the door.
Okay. And what direction were your kids walking?
The door closest to me, so I'm sorry, I'm not very good directionally.
Is it
directionally.
the door at the bottom, the
Yes.
south end?
Yes, closest, like if we were going to the pavilion.
Okay. And again, we're looking at the board. The pavilion is on the south end. So
Yes,
you're
ma'am.
saying that
We went out the south door, yes.
south door. Your kids would have come out the south door and gone to that area. Okay. So what happened after you're holding the door open for the one student who forgot a water bottle?
One of my students opened the door to go out the south side, and they said the coach is yelling. And I said, why? And they said, I don't know. And then, I'm sorry, I heard what sounded like fireworks. And I told the kids, come back inside. My foot was still on the door, and I said, get in the classroom and hide.
So what's going through your mind right now? You've heard that the kids have said the coach told them to get back in. You heard firecrackers. What's going through your mind?
I honestly wasn't sure, but I just thought it was something bad.
Okay. And because it's something bad, what do you go to?
Lockdown.
You immediately go to lockdown, and that's your training.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So explain to the jury what if you go to lockdown, you tell your kids to get in. Tell us what you did next.
I was going to close my blinds. My lights were already off because we were going to recess, and I heard the classroom next door was kind of loud. They didn't know anything, and so I opened the adjoining doors between me and the classroom next door, and I said, be quiet and get down. And I closed the door and then went to the blind to close the blinds.
When you went to the blinds to close the blinds, did you look outside that window?
No, I did not.
Okay. So did you get the blinds closed?
Yes.
Okay. And then what did you do?
I turned around to get with the kids, basically, and shots went through the window, and a piece of shrapnel or debris or something hit me, and I fell or jumped. I don't know what I did. I lost my glasses, and then I was worried. I'm sorry. I thought I put the kids in the worst place.
Explain to the jury what you mean by that.
Because he was shooting through the window, and the kids were directly across, and I thought I made the worst mistake I had ever made.
Okay. So what did you do then?
I crawled over to the kids, and I just started asking them, are y'all okay? Are y'all okay? My ears were kind of ringing because the shots that went through the window. And one of my students said, you were shot. And I said, no, I'm fine. Are y'all okay? And then I just kind of crawled in between the kids, and then I thought I needed to block them from the window, so I, as quiet as I could, turned a desk to kind of block them, which is sort of stupid, because what's that going to do?
Well, let's go back to them telling you were shot. Did you know you were shot?
Not, I think I was sort of in shock, so not necessarily. I knew, I wasn't shot, it was like debris or something.
Like shrapnel?
Yeah.
How did they know you were shot?
My shirt had a hole and I had blood on me.
So your students see you with the hole in your shirt and with blood on you? Okay. So now they're under the counter?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you're positioning yourself between them, and what's the reason for that?
I wanted to block them.
Okay. And what were your students doing now?
They were just being scared, obviously, but just so quiet.
Did you at any point see the shooter walking outside the building?
No, I did not.
Okay. And did you see shots coming through the windows? Where were those shots going to?
I couldn't tell. Once he shot in the window was completely like blown, like just shattered, right? And it was like, I thought at the time it was smoke, but it was like very hazy in the classroom. And I didn't have my glasses, so, because I had lost them, so, which doesn't help.
Did you feel like the shots were coming from the ceiling or coming from up top?
Not at that point, no.
Okay. Did you at some point later think that?
Yes.
Okay. And why did you think that?
Because you could see ceiling tile like on the ground.
Okay. So again, you're in the room. You're trying to position yourself between the windows and your students. And what do you hear during this time?
I heard a couple shots on the outside of the building. It sounded like hammering on the building. And then I heard shooting in the hallway.
Okay. And were you trying to think of a possible escape or something that you could do?
At some point I looked at the window because it was just shattered and I thought we could get out, but somebody shot when we were walking out of the building. Then somebody shot through the window, and then I heard shooting in the hallway, so I thought it was more than one person. And I thought our only sort of savior was that he shot through the window and my kids were so quiet, they wouldn't know we were in there. So I thought if we just stayed quiet, they would think we weren't in there.
So as you were shot and you had shrapnel, you're trying to think of a plan and you're thinking of possible scenarios. Shooting here, shooting there, shooting there. What's my best plan? Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And while you're thinking all this is going through your mind, what are you telling your students?
I was just telling them to pray. I told them I loved them. And I just kept saying, like, babies, I love you. Just pray, I love you.
Okay.
I wanted to tell them it would be okay, but I wasn't sure, and I just wanted the last thing they heard was that somebody loved them. So I think I said it 1,000,000 times. I just kept saying, I love you.
Okay. At some point, did you think about your own children?
Yes. I messaged my husband and I said somebody's shooting outside the window. I love you. I'm sorry. Tell the kids I'm sorry.
Explain to the jury why you felt that you had to say you were sorry to your own children.
I thought if I didn't make it, that my kids would just always think I chose my job over them.
Your job being what?
Teaching.
And protecting those students that day?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you eventually get out of your room?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and who got you out? Do you remember?
I don't necessarily remember. They looked through the window because it was, like shot out. And they had, I think, just a short sleeve shirt and like a vest,
Okay.
And they asked, "Is anybody in here?" And one of my students said something, and I was scared because I didn't know who it was. And I said, "Shh." And then they kind of peeked around and said, "Is anybody in here?" And I said, "Yes." And so I just started lifting kids out of the window, and the people on the other side, I don't know if it was officers or border patrol or who, but would help me pull the kids through the window.
Okay. Now, Ms. Deming, you said you're still teaching.
Yes,
What
ma'am.
grade, you said for the 2021-2022, you taught 4th grade.
Yes, ma'am.
For the 2022-2023 school year, what grade did you teach?
I moved campuses. I wanted to stay with the students. I wanted to move directly to 5th grade, but they didn't have a position, so I moved to 6th grade, but I got to be on the campus with my students.
And that was intentional?
Yes, ma'am.
And for the 2023-2024 school year, what grade did you teach?
I taught 5th grade.
And again, that was?
I got to be with the students. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Going back to your students in that classroom on May 24th of 2022, what is your opinion of those students that were there with you?
They are the strongest, bravest people on this earth, on this whole earth.
And why is that?
They were just so brave. They did everything perfect that day. And I just am so thankful I got to be a tiny part of their life.
Pass the witness.
Can I cross? Please. Ms. Deming, is pronounced Deming?
Yes, yes, sir.
Could you please spell it?
Deming.
Thank you. And the only reason I ask you that is because, that as you probably know, there's been a lot of reports generated and written about this, and they've kind of consistently spelled your name as Daring in the
Yes.
reports. Is that common, or is that a maiden name?
I am that or Deming with 2 M's, so yeah, it's pretty common.
Sure, because I guess one M may look like 2 R's.
Yeah.
Well, my name's Jason Goss, and I represent Adrian, and have you ever testified before?
Not like this, no, sir.
Sure. And, a lot of people may expect that when it comes over here that we're going to be mean to you or disrespectful, and I just want you to know we're not. I mean, honestly, what you did with those kids, I admire it. And you said you were lucky to be a part of their lives. I think that they were lucky to have you, right? Because, and I want to start with that training. The training that you're talking about, that's a training that's given to teachers and given to students to say, look, if something like this ever happens, you get in a room, you turn off all the lights, you be quiet, try to block the door like you were, as best that you could. And really try to make it seem like nobody's in the room, right?
Yes, sir.
And in fact, that's kind of what you were saying too. You were like, at the time that you think multiple people are coming in, you're saying, please, just hopefully they think nobody's here, right?
Yes, sir.
And those trainings, and it's important. I think the reason that they have that is because it's been shown that it can save lives. Because potential shooters or people wishing to do you and the children harm will pass you up, right? And so, one of the things you said, because I mean, you can't even imagine how hard it would have been for your kids to stay that quiet for that long with that going on, right? But
Yes,
they
sir.
did.
Yes, sir.
So, as far as that training though, I think the prosecutor asked you who gave the training, and you said you thought it was like administration or the school, were these civilians or were these people in like police officer uniforms? That gave the training?
I honestly, I don't remember specifically.
Okay. Do you ever remember, because I'm sure you've had a few of them, do you ever remember just in any of these kind of trainings, police officers being present at the trainings, or is it typically like school administrators or principals or vice principals or other people who come in as, you know, I guess?
Sometimes campus police might be there, but I want to say normally it's just our administration.
Sure. And and at Robb Elementary at the time that you were working there, you were aware, and we've heard it from others, but you were aware that there was not a police officer actually assigned to that campus.
Yes, sir.
And so, I guess the way that they handled Robb, as far as the school district did, is that there would be police officers assigned to the high school, and then they would come, I guess, periodically at some times to check up on the elementary school. Is that how you understood it?
I only remember one officer ever coming to our campus.
Okay.
Not necessarily one time, but I only
Sure.
remember one ever coming, you know, sporadically.
Sure. And for whatever reason, funding or whatever else, it's we don't necessarily know why, but the part of, because you were there for a few years, 6 years.
Yeah, roughly.
Yeah, sure, 5 or 6. Was ever part of it when the officer would come? Was there ever any situation as a teacher where other teachers would get, not in trouble necessarily, but reprimanded for not having their doors locked? Do you remember any kind of time that had occurred?
I never did. If another teacher did, I wouldn't know.
Right. Yeah, and I wasn't suggesting that you had been, but I guess the idea would be that, you know, maybe, was there ever a situation where teachers would text each other saying, hey, the police officer's going to come, make sure everybody's door's locked or anything like that? Did you ever get any communications?
No, sir.
Okay. Were you ever aware of the school issuing magnets that teachers would put on the door that would defeat the, like basically so the door wouldn't lock? It's like a magnet that'll go over the metal part of the plate, and then the door wouldn't be able to be locked.
I don't remember the school issuing magnets. I know some teachers had magnets, but I don't necessarily remember the school giving us magnets.
Right. Okay. And you yourself were never handed like a magnet?
No, sir.
Said, Ms. Deming, go, you know, use this when you don't want to lock your door?
No, sir.
What about when you had substitutes or something? Was that when magnets were commonly used because they didn't have keys?
I didn't really have subs. I was one of those teachers.
Right.
So I'm honestly not sure.
Okay. No, then that's fair. I appreciate you answering. The coach, I guess you said that as you were taking your kids out to recess, that the coach would, one of your students informed you that a coach was yelling.
Yes, sir.
Do you know which coach that was yelling?
At the time, they just said coach, so I thought Coach Gonzales, but I do not know which coach was yelling.
And I guess, did you ever, because this is how I picture, Your Honor, can I get in the well for a second?
Yes.
Thank you. I pictured it kind of like you're going out, you guys are going out, you're trying to lead your class out of that door there.
Yes, sir.
All right. And I picture it like you're going to lead them out, one kid leaves a water bottle, and so now you're going, okay, you go
Yes.
here and you go here.
Yes, sir.
And you're kind of in the hallway. One comes back in and says, hey, coach is yelling. Did you ever make it out to see like what was happening? So
No,
you kind
sir.
of stayed in that middle ground right
Yes,
there
sir.
between the student going back and the students going out.
Yes, sir.
And then told them all, get back in here.
Mhm.
Okay. When you heard what you thought sounded like fireworks.
Yes, sir.
I guess one of the things that you said was, that, I guess y'all were planning on doing recess a little early.
Yes, sir.
Was there any reason for that?
It was just fun.
Yeah. A cool teacher
It was
brings
just-
kids out to recess early, but like I know we've heard other testimony than you said yourself. It was a special day, and Did any of your kids go home after the ceremony, or did they all stay with you?
I had about 4 students that went home after the ceremony.
And was that been a typical and common thing?
No, most of my kids wanted to stay with me. A lot of classes had way less students.
After listening to your testimony, I can understand why. But I guess the idea is, did you know that it was common maybe for, I guess in your school at the time, was it just generally known that, hey, after awards, your parents want to take you to go eat pizza and go to Chuck E. Cheese or whatever, you know, that you can do that, and, you know, we're not counting you absent, and we're not.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so in these kind of special end of the year days like that, there may have been less kids at the school, thankfully, for that
Yes, sir.
reason.
Yes, sir.
But that wouldn't have been an everyday thing. I mean, parents
No.
can't pick them up half day.
No,
every-
sir.
Right, okay. So, would you agree? So I don't know, I mean, you were obviously going through, you know, one of the most traumatic things anybody can go through, right, at the time. So I don't know if you know what this looked like, but when you had the lights out, and when you had your students down, and when they were all being very quiet and very grave, would you agree that it would appear as if your classroom was empty?
I thought, yes, sir.
Right, because that was the purpose, is to make it look like nobody's in there. You said when they finally got you out, they get you out to the window, and the window's in the back.
Yes, sir.
And you and the students, and you're helping bring down the students. And those were officers that were helping you guys get out, right?
Yes, sir.
Did you know at the time that the monster who had hurt the kids in 111 to 112 was dead?
No, I did not.
Did you know if he was alive?
No.
Okay, so did the officers who were getting you out have a sense of urgency about getting you to safety and the children?
They pulled us through the window and said, run.
Right. Suggesting that the threat is not over.
Exactly.
And so even though you may not know for sure, all the clues around it told you that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and so you, I'm sure, and felt that you and the children were still in danger, and everybody around you were still in potential danger from whatever was going on.
Yes, sir.
Right. Did you know that one of those officers pulling the kids out of the windows over there was Adrian?
I didn't remember anybody. I
Sure.
mean, I knew people were pulling us out. I did not know who it was.
Right. And so you would agree that those officers that were doing that in your room and the rooms next to it, because the other rooms were getting pulled out too, right? Like down that row, they're pulling the kids out and the teachers who were in those rooms.
Yes, sir.
And you'd agree that those officers were doing a good thing.
I was thankful.
Right. And Adrian, as part of those officers, would have been doing a good thing trying to evacuate the kids and the teachers out from further danger.
Yes, sir.
I'll pass the witness.
No other questions, Your Honor?
Recall?
No recall from the state.
Oh, Judge, no, we don't need her subject to recall.
You're excused, thank you very much. Not subject to recall.
Thank you.
All okay? Your next witness.
The state calls Nicole Osborne.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Would you come on up to the bench, please? Raise your right hand for me. You solemnly swear the evidence in the testimony given in the cause will be the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
All right. There's a witness stand over here. Make yourself comfortable and adjust the microphone if you need to.
Okay.
You may proceed when you're ready.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Please state your name for the record.
Nicole Ogburn.
And Ms. Ogburn, where are you currently employed?
I'm currently employed with Uvalde CISD.
And what is your current job position?
Right now, I am a resource teacher.
In May of 2022, where were you employed?
I was employed with Uvalde CISD.
And what was your job position in May of 2022?
I was a co-teacher.
And what does that mean, a co-teacher?
You have a general education teacher and a special education teacher in a classroom. So I was the SPED teacher that was in the classroom in 102.
And who did you co-teach with?
Mrs. Alvarado,
Okay. And what campus did you work at?
Robb Elementary.
And how long had you been working at Robb Elementary as of May of 2022?
About 8 years.
And what grade were you teaching at the time?
4th grade.
Now, what room number was your room?
It was room 102.
Okay. I'm going to hand you a pointer, and if you would come. May the
Okay.
witness get up, Judge?
Please.
Ms. Ogburn, I'm going to give you this pointer. I'm going to ask you, here we have a board that's been introduced into evidence as an aerial view of Robb Elementary. Do you recognize it?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and here we have the campus right here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give you this pointer, and if you would show the jury where your classroom was, 102.
102 is right here in this corner.
That corner, the
Yes,
south end
The south end, yes.
of the building. Okay, thank you. Now, did you begin the year at Robb in the 2021-2022 school year?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And for the jury and for the record, the record from the court, can you explain to the jury what is a lockdown procedure?
Lockdown procedure was lights out, windows covered, and you hide in a corner that you can't be seen from the window that's at the door.
Okay. And you had received this training as a teacher for the Uvalde Independent School District?
It was spoken to us about, like every year they kind of briefly go over what the procedures were, but it had always been shut your window, turn your lights off, make sure your door's locked, and hide in a corner that is not visible to the windows.
And is that the same training that the students received?
Yes.
Okay. And how often were you trained on this? You said they mentioned it, or?
Well, we did a training for teachers. Usually they would mention it during our PD days before school started, and then throughout the year we'd have lockdown drills and fire drills and all, practice all the drills that we had.
And who would provide the training to the students?
Usually it was just our staff at Robb that would go back over it, or actually us that would train. I'm sorry, didn't realize you said students, but usually us. So we would, before a lockdown practice drill, we would tell them, okay, we're going to have a lockdown practice drill. This is what we're going to do. Myself and Miss Alvarado, I remember talking to him about it, and we were like, we are just going to shut the window, the shade on the window that we had. We are going to turn off lights, and y'all are to file over here into the corner by Miss Alvarado's desk.
Okay, now you said in the corner. Let's go back a little bit. Can you
Okay.
explain to the jury, when you walk into your classroom, what was the layout? What would you
Okay.
see?
So when you walked in our door, you walked in on the left side. We had a cubby kind of blocking, so you couldn't see. There was not a line of sight to that area over there. And then you walk and you turn to the left of that bookcase or cubbies, and there was a built-in cabinets on top and like a built-in desk all the way across. And Miss Alvarado's desk was in the opposite corner of where the entrance was to the door.
Okay, and your desk?
My desk was right in front of the door, but in the opposite corner.
Okay. And going back to the lockdown procedure, you said you would tell the kids, this is what we're going to do, and how you would be in the lockdown, and what would you be doing? What would you be waiting for?
We'd wait in the corner. The kids would get quiet, stay quiet. And during a drill, it was just wait for somebody to come back on the intercom and say, all clear, all clear.
Okay. And in the event that it wasn't a drill, what would you wait for?
They told us to wait until law enforcement comes and announces themselves before you leave your room.
Okay. Now I'm going to take you back to May 24th of 2022. What were your hours that day?
We worked from 7:30 to 3:30, usually or 4, and then that day was kind of an off day because we had, award ceremonies and things, so we didn't have like a schedule of classes that day. It was just do your award ceremony, and the kids, we kind of had a very relaxing day that was going to happen.
Okay. And what time was your award ceremony?
I don't recall exact time, but it was close. We got back to the room closer to like 11, a little bit after 11.
Okay. And what were y'all going to do once you got back to the classroom from the awards ceremony? What was the plan?
For us, it was the kids were going to relax. We were going to put a movie on. We were allowing them to go in and out, to go to the bathroom, because we had been in the wards and they were all excited. And so we told them, if you need to go to the bathroom, ask us and just go ahead and go, and we'll start the movie in a few minutes. So that's kind of what was going on at that time, was the kids were going back and forth to the bathroom and then coming back to the classroom.
Okay. So did y'all have plans to go outside or just watch the movie?
We were going to watch the movie, and we had told the kids that we would go outside a little bit earlier than we normally did. We usually went outside about 12:15 for recess, and then we went to lunch at 12:30. So we kind of were like, we'll go out a little early, but we're going to wait a little bit because it's real hot outside. And so we were like, we'll just put this movie on and y'all can watch the movie until we go outside.
And while you're watching the movie and waiting to go outside, what did you hear?
Well, one thing I do recall is some of the girls that are in our classroom had to come up and asked, and I distinctly remember looking at my watch and saying, it's only 11:21, girls. We're not going to go out yet. We're going to wait because it's really hot out there. And they were like, okay. I said, just go sit and watch the movie and relax for a little bit. And myself and Miss Alvarado were doing paperwork to we have to do end of the year things to wrap up the year. So we were doing some of our paperwork while the kids are watching movies.
Okay. Then what happened?
I don't know. It was like 8 minutes later. I'm not really sure. I heard, it sounded like metal hitting the brick. And so we assumed, myself and Miss Alvarado assumed it was some of our custodians out there working, because it wasn't uncommon for us to hear noises and them outside working on something. And so I thought it was like maybe a shovel or something hitting the bricks as they were digging up something. I didn't know. So I stood up and looked out. I had a window right behind me, but I couldn't see anything out of it anyway. So I stepped over to the other window on the opposite side from my desk and looked out the window. And
what did you see when you looked out the window?
I saw a guy dressed in black. He kind of had mid-length hair, and I saw a backpack and a gun pointed towards the playground and pavilion area.
Now, I'm going to give you this pointer again. I want you to show the jury where you saw him once you looked out the window.
Okay.
May the witness get down, Judge?
Yes, please.
So there was a tree right outside this window right here. My desk was over here somewhere, and there was another window. So I was looking out this window closest to the corner of the room, and there's a tree here, and he was standing by that tree
Okay.
on the sidewalk.
And where you're pointing to for the record is the southwest corner of that fourth grade building, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and we see a sidewalk that's kind of in an elbow shape, right?
Yes, that.
Okay.
Right there, and that leads up to the south door.
Okay, and he was on that corner?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Let me sit down. Once you saw the shooter on that corner, and what did you think?
I was like, we've got to get down and go ahead and hide, go into like there hadn't been a lockdown called yet, and I was just like, we got to get down. So I went, oh my God, there's a gun. And the kids kind of started panicking, and I just told them, get to the corner, hide under there. And we had a black curtain that actually went all the way down that built-in desk that we stored stuff in, because we didn't have a lot of storage, so we had put stuff under there and hid it with a black curtain. So usually our kids, when we were doing practice drills, they would get behind the black curtain. Not all classrooms had that, but ours did, and so they would get behind that curtain and hide, and that's what they did.
Okay, and what did you do when she said that he has a gun and you told him to get down? What did you do?
Miss Alvarado had left her keys on the desk, and we had not locked the door that day because we were like, it was very relaxed. We were waiting for all the kids to finish going to the bathroom. And I went to try to throw my keys at her, and both of us were like, no, he's coming in that south door is what we thought he was doing. Because the way he was walking and pointing his gun looked like he was going to come in through that door. And so I was like, we have no time, just hide. So all the kids hid, and I remember coming around all the desk, and I had two little boys that were actually sitting by the door, and I said, no, get over here. So I had them go around the cubbies and get behind the cubbies and underneath. And right about that time, I heard gunshots, and I felt stuff falling on me. So I literally went onto the ground on my belly and started just crawling on my belly to get underneath the curtain with the kids.
Okay. And the kids were already underneath that table?
Yes, they were already there.
Okay. Did you move any furniture? Did you change things? Okay.
Not at that time, no.
Okay. So what did you do? You crawled to where the kids are?
And I laid underneath. I was kind of closer to Mrs. Alvarado's desk. I crawled over there and got under there, and there were kids all around me, in front of me, behind me. I kind of felt like my body was kind of sticking out of the curtain, but I was trying to cover myself with that curtain too at the same time.
And is that part of your lockdown procedure?
Yes. I mean, for our classroom it was, because then they were completely out of sight.
Okay. And the kids knew this?
Yes.
Okay. Did you have one student that was trying to protect you?
Yes. I had one of my students, after I got under the curtain, I was laying on my stomach, and he crawled onto my back and laid across me and rubbed my arm and telling me, Ms. Ogburn, it's going to be okay.
Okay. So what did you do after you crawled underneath the table and were with the kids?
At that point, I was like, oh my gosh, what if I was the first person to see this guy? I've got to notify somebody. I didn't know who had seen him or not. So I had my Apple Watch on, and I dialed 911 from it. And I did that twice, and my calls were dropped. And I think it was on my third try that it finally went through. And 911 operator was asking me where I was and who. I don't even recall telling her my name. I just said, I'm a teacher at Robb Elementary. There's a active shooter in our building. I'm in room 102, the new building at Robb. And she said, stay on the line with me. And I told her I couldn't, because if he heard me, he was gonna come in our room and shoot us. And I just hung up the phone. I didn't wait for her to say anything else.
Okay. Do you remember if you told her that somebody had been shot, or did you get?
Oh yes, I did. I remember. I had also told her that Miss Avila, I didn't mention her name, but I said another teacher across the hall from me because I couldn't remember her room number, had been shot and had sent a message in one of our group chats from like several years back. We had a math Google chat, and I guess that was the first one she opened, and she sent a thing saying she had been shot.
Now, where is Miss Avila's room in relation to your room?
Her room was just like diagonal from my room. There was one room across from me, and then hers was the next one over across the hall.
Okay. Now, you said you called 911.
Yes.
Okay, and you would recognize your voice on that tape, right?
Yes, I would.
The state would. Okay. The state offers exhibit number 10 into evidence, which is the 911 recording of Ms. Ogburn.
That'll be admitted.
The state would ask to publish that 911 recording to the jury.
Please.
You already told me that one. You already told me that one. I was on 6 shooter. That's why I'm on 6 shooter. Y'all go in the field and on 6 shooter. Y'all go in the field and on 6 shooter. This is so good. It's all really good. I did not tell how to do this. They come in. I don't have a little bit of the gunshots back on the classroom. You put in a gunshot to your parents, building in the building. I don't know who's been a lot. I don't know what, and I was grabbing my picture. Somebody is shot in the classroom. Somebody is shot in the classroom? Okay, can you tell me the keep it in mind? Another one. I'm sorry, what? Another classroom. I don't know. Please hurry. You know, what room number? Can you tell me what room? Room number 2. I know he's in here. I don't know what he's at right now. I gotta go. I can't let him hear me. Okay, so it's okay. It's okay, I understand. Okay.
I want to be real specific about why you hung up and why you told her, I can't let him hear me. What was your thoughts about that?
Because I really thought he was still in the hallway. I had heard a door kind of shut, and I thought it was him coming in that south door, so I was scared he was right outside. And he was going to come into our room, and I didn't want him to hear me.
Okay, and that's part of your training?
Yes.
Were you eventually evacuated, Ms. Ogburn?
Yes. Eventually, I don't know what law enforcement agency they were with, but what seemed like an hour went by was not, but a law enforcement officer happened to come in, and he was like, is there anybody in here? And the kids, and he announced himself, and I don't remember exactly what he said, but it was something to do with law enforcement, and they said, yes, we're here. And then he said, are your teachers here? Is everybody okay? And myself and Miss Alvarado were like, yes, we're here. He asked me and Miss Alvarado, go out the window, move the bookcase and go out the window. The bookcase was located underneath the window I had previously looked out at and seen the shooter, and it was also the window that he shot into when I dove to the ground. And so myself, and this bookshelf was our library, so myself and Miss Alvarado pushed it to the side and opened it with glass just falling everywhere around us. And then we put a chair up because it was a little high up for the kids to get out the window, and we started filing kids out the window.
Who was the last person to leave your classroom?
Myself.
And why is that?
There was a few kids that went before Miss Alvarado. Miss Alvarado went, and then I let the rest of the kids go, and then I went just to make sure that all of us had gotten out.
So you went to make sure the kids were safe?
Yes.
Miss Ogburn, are you still teaching today?
Yes, I am.
Pass the witness.
May I proceed, Judge?
Please.
Ms. Deming?
Ms. Ogburn.
I'm sorry, I'm looking wrong. Please forgive me, Ms. Ogburn. My name is Nico LaHood. I'm one of the lawyers that represents Adrian. I want to start. I'm sorry, I apologize. You said something at the beginning of your testimony that you're a SPED teacher,
Yes.
and that means special ed.
Yes.
Yeah, I have a special ed needs son, so that's why I know that, so I
Yes.
appreciate what you do very
Yes,
much.
thank you.
And so you kind of, are you do you do the ARD meetings as well? Or
Yes, I do.
Okay, and that's an extra duty you do in relation to your special ed's teaching?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Now, was room 102 a special ed's room, or was it just,
It's, well, a co-teach classroom does have special ed children in it. The majority of them are general ed students.
right?
And usually it's like a 60-40 breakdown.
And so if it's like our son, they do some things with the general
I
students,
worked with all of them.
but what I'm saying, do they isolate some of the special ed kids at times to work on certain stuff?
No,
They all at the same time?
all at the same time.
Got it. So let's talk about the day, because it looks like that this was, I think you said it was an off day and you really didn't have a schedule that day.
Yeah, we had our lunch schedule, but we didn't have our regular scheduled classes.
Right. And that's not a criticism, it's just the way it was.
No, it's just the way it was because it was only like a day or two before school was
Right.
to be out.
And you had your award ceremony, and then did some kids leave after the award ceremony?
Yes, sir.
And so the ones that stayed, it was more of a after-school play time, just hang out with each
Yeah,
other?
we were just gonna hang out. We had some like projects. We had like fun like STEM projects we had been doing with them a few days, like the day before. And we were gonna probably continue that later that afternoon and finish some of them up.
And just so the jury understands it, what's a STEM project?
STEM is science, technology, I can't remember it all. Anyways, it's basically like math, everything together, and they can create things. It's more of a creative way to use their minds, and so we're building roller coasters out of paper plates or stuff like that.
And then at some point, I think you described the noises you heard, you thought it might be maintenance working on things,
Yes.
and noises were normal.
It sounded just like metal on brick.
I want to also ask you, do you know what a bailout is?
Yes, I do.
Will you please describe to the jury what a bailout is?
A bailout was when we had illegals that they were basically chasing down, and they would stop and run out of their vehicles and hide from the police or
And the
whoever.
bailout is referencing bailing out from a vehicle and going on.
Running, yes. And we also had some chases in the air, just some chases with illegals through our area.
And in your opinion, was that pretty frequent in your area?
Yes, it was kind of normalized by then.
The bailout was normalized.
Then yes, the bailout.
And so is it fair to say when there was a lockdown called, and you tell me if I'm wrong,
Mm-hmm.
it seems like the lockdown lost its seriousness over time.
I know that for my classroom, we took it seriously all the time, but it was kind of like, oh, it's probably another bailout.
And that's what I mean. I mean, if it's when I was younger, fire drills was okay. It's a fire drill, right?
Yeah.
So you just got another fire drill once a month. But this is not a drill. It was an actual bailout, and it seemed like that they, like you said, became normalized.
Right.
And so the lockdown procedures, it sounds like you followed them specifically. Do you know what the culture was about lockdown procedures?
I mean, we all feel like all the teachers there followed them, but also I didn't get the lockdown message on my phone, or actually I didn't have my phone because I left it on my desk.
And
On my watch was a text message, and then I recall maybe an email coming through, and that was like 11:36, somewhere in there, about.
11:36, you got the lockdown message?
Yes.
Are you aware that he entered the building at 11:32:58?
I was aware after the fact, yes.
Yes.
From watching videos, yes.
Right. And when you say watching videos, and we've kind of had to deal with this with all witnesses,
Yeah,
because it's been so publicized, everyone has seen stuff outside of your experience.
correct.
Can I humbly ask you to try to focus on, and it sounds like you did a great job, focusing on what you were thinking and what you experienced at the time versus what anybody saw after based off of
Yeah,
someone's
I know.
opinion.
How I was feeling at
Yes,
the
ma'am.
time,
Yeah.
I was very, very nervous. I had several like other people trying to call me on my watch, and I just said, one of them was my husband. I said, I can't talk. There's an active shooter in my building. I hung up.
And when you describe the lockdown, and there's two aspects to it, right? And I think they're broken down into hold and then actual lockdown, right?
Yes.
Hold means hold in place, don't go outside.
But you can continue teaching and doing your regular activities.
Right, and then the second one is, okay, this is more precautionary, this is the lockdown. The lockdown portion of it is where the lights lock the door and hide.
Correct.
Now, you said something, because I want to get to the culture of door locks in a second. You also mentioned that I think the government asked you about if you guys went over these procedures, and you said they briefly went over them with us.
Yeah, every year they kind of briefly go over it with us to like refresh us, like this is how you do each of these things. But like the state, and I don't know how many times a year it is, but the state has guidelines on how many times we have to have these drills.
Do you recall how many times the school had them?
Oh, we had them, I know at least 2 or 3 of them that year.
Okay. Lockdowns or the
Drills,
training?
drills.
Okay.
Drills.
And so they would briefly go over them with you. And one of the things about, as we've all gotten into this horrible incident, it seems like you're taught and the children are taught, and I understand, we all get it, to be quiet.
Yes.
But if you would know, if everyone is quiet inside, if somebody's outside, there would be no way for them to know if anybody's inside if they don't know the schedule. Is that a fair statement?
Well, yes and yes, but also if you don't know the procedures, you don't know that we're supposed to be in there quiet.
Agree. But also, what we have found out, and I want your opinion about this, your school was not assigned a full-time officer.
No, we didn't have enough officers at that time to have one at each school.
And this is not a criticism of you, you understand that?
Right, no, I understand that.
I'm just saying, do you know if teachers had been requesting administration to have a full-time officer?
I don't recall that.
Okay. But the fact remains is there was not a full-time officer that...
Was at our campus
At
all
campus.
the time, correct.
Now, you talk about locking the doors. So every teacher was given a key to their door, correct?
Yes.
There wasn't a kind of key fob, a
No,
badge?
no, no.
That would...
We had none of that.
Right. And were there some teachers that used a magnet to make it easier for substitutes that didn't have keys?
I recall seeing some on some doors, but I didn't know if they used them or not.
Okay. But that was, the teachers got a key, but substitutes didn't get a key.
That is correct.
Okay. Do you know, or do you have an opinion on the policy of the external doors? Because there was a policy that the external doors were supposed to be locked at all times.
A few years before this, I do remember it, like one of our principals really enforced it. But we hadn't really heard about locking all the doors, but the west end door was always locked that went out to the teacher's parking lot.
Do you know now that on this day, unfortunately, that door was not locked?
I do know that now, yes.
But policy-wise, it was supposed to be
It was
locked.
supposed to be locked.
And I'm sorry you have to go through that 911 call again and reliving what you went through. But you said something important that it caught my attention. You said, I thought he was in the building.
Mm-hmm.
And now you know that he walked upside the west, so he
Correct.
wasn't in the building when you thought. And that's not a criticism.
Right, I know.
Stress does interesting things to perception, right?
Yes.
Have you heard of the term perception distortion?
No, I have not.
Okay. But you understand stress is...
Yes,
does
yes,
different things to different people.
yes.
Okay. And so when you said you thought he was either going to go in the south building, he didn't, correct?
No,
And when you were on 911 call, he wasn't actually in the building at the time.
I did not know that at that time.
When you were on the phone with 911, you were hearing multiple shots?
I heard multiple shots, not while I was on the phone with them,
Okay.
but before I was on the phone with them.
Right, so are you aware that by the time you were on the phone with 911 that he had already been in the building?
Yes.
Okay, for some
But
time.
now I am.
Right, at the time you did not know.
No, I did not.
I think you testified on direct examination that when you got a message from a teacher that had been struck,
Yes.
what was the name of that teacher?
Elsa Avila.
Avila?
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm looking at a diagram of yours, you're in 102, correct?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. May I approach, Judge?
Yes.
Just for me.
Okay.
I forgot you as your back. Can I do this close to you?
That's okay.
So if you're 102, where's your?
Elsa's was this one, 109.
109.
Yes.
Do you want to introduce it, or? Let me just see it.
I've got another one.
No, I'm good. I just wanted to shoot, make sure. 109. Yeah, I'm good. Whatever you need to do.
My personal witness, Judge?
Yes, sir.
I'm handing you what is marked as Defense Exhibit 1 for identification only. You recognize Defense 1, correct?
Yes.
And this is kind of a diagram of Robb Elementary.
This is a diagram of just the new building, or the newer building at Robb Elementary,
And
yes.
the new building is really the newer building,
The
right?
newer, it's not that new, but yes.
And 102 is where you were at on the screen?
Yes, right here.
And then 109 is where Ms. Avila was?
Yes, just,
And is this diagram a fair and accurate depiction of the newer building?
yes.
Judge, I move Defense 1 into evidence.
No objection.
Thank you.
Submitted.
Can I call this to the jury?
Yes.
And so, at some point, the government asked you that your class was evacuated.
Yes.
Do you recall what agencies evacuated you from the window?
I do not. There were people dressed in, I didn't see faces, I saw uniforms and people still dressed in like their everyday clothes with tactical over it. But, so I don't know all the agencies that were there.
But there were officers getting the kids out.
Yes, there were officers getting the kids out.
And do you know now that Adrian was one of those officers?
No, I still do not. I did not know that.
Okay. Well, I think you're a woman of honor to go last. Thank you.
Thank you.
Pass the witness, Judge.
No more questions, Your Honor?
Excuse, subject to recall.
Excuse, Judge.
Excused and no recall for us.
Ma'am, you have been excused, not subject to recall. Thank you very much. You can
Thank
take
you.
off. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a little late on the recess. Let me give you 10 minutes, if you could do it as quickly as possible. And we'll see you back in 10, and we'll go a little past 5. But everyone rise for the jury. Bring my official timekeeper. Good afternoon, sir. Would you raise your right hand for me, please? You do solemnly swear the evidence and the testimony given in the cause will be the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
That's our witness stand right over there. If you make yourself comfortable, adjust the microphone if you need to. You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right.
Would you tell the jury your name, please?
Kevin Wright.
And what do you do for a living?
I'm assigned to the Texas Ranger. Member of the state crime scene team for the Texas Ranger Division. And so my assignment at that time was to go to San Antonio from Bernie, pick up our crime scene trailer. It's a trailer that just has lots of crime scene supplies for working a big type of crime scene like that. So pick up that crime scene trailer and then drive to Uvalde.
And when did you get there?
I think I got there around 5 or 6 in the evening, a few hours after everything had happened.
And did you get an assignment?
Yes.
Tell us what that was.
The assignment that evening was to help identify the victims inside the school.
And how did you do that? How did you go about doing that?
Most of it was visual identification. We did have, I guess some of the parents of some of the children had provided photographs of their children from earlier in the day. My understanding is that there was some type of award ceremony, and so there were a lot of pictures of the children and actually what they were wearing that day. So we were able to identify several of them from those photographs.
Because the photographs were so quick, it happened the same day, the clothing helped to identify.
Correct. Many of them were wearing the same exact clothing that they were wearing in the photographs earlier that day.
And where were the children that you found?
They were in a couple of the classrooms.
So how long did that take?
It took several hours that evening. I think I remember working till about, I want to say 11 or 12 that evening. I believe that was a Friday evening.
And what did you do with the information?
As far as the identity?
Yes, sir.
We just provided it to our chain of command. I don't know who it was that actually took the information and matched it up and gave it to funeral homes or any other entity. It's one of the things that we were doing. We compiled it, and somebody within our group took it to whoever needed it.
Just moves up the chain.
Correct.
Thank you. Did you also have any assignments with evidence collection?
Yes.
Tell us about that assignment.
So my primary assignment over the next few days was to gather evidence from a few of the classrooms. I think it was 4 of the classrooms, maybe 4 or 5 of them, on the the west side of that building at Robb Elementary. My primary assignment was to identify where bullet defects were in the windows coming into the classrooms, and try to trace as best as possible the flight path, the trajectory of these bullets that came in. Many of them struck the ceiling, many of them struck the opposite walls, but that was my primary assignment for the next few days.
Okay. Let's take a second just to familiarize the jury once again with the part of the bullet that you were working on, okay?
Okay.
Yes, sir. Can we get the exhibit back that was tendered to the jury, to the court reporter? Yes. Okay, all right, thank you. Part of my job, I gotta make sure we get everything.
You can come on up, and the jury's spread pretty wide, so that's why I have the pointer, so you can give them room to see. So, for the last couple of days, we've been working on the casing part of the bullet. Would you again point that out for the jury?
We call this the casing, or we call it the cartridge of the bullet.
Okay, and then the front end, would you point that out and tell us what that is?
That is the bullet. That is the actual projectile that comes out of the end of the cartridge that goes out.
And that's the damaged part of it?
Correct.
And so what was your assignment?
My assignment
With relationship to the projectile or the bullet side of it?
My assignment was to identify the areas, again, in the windows on the west side of the building where the bullets had come in through the windows, and trace their, as best as possible, trace their flight path into the ceiling tiles, into furniture or other objects within the classrooms, or into the opposite walls of the classrooms.
Okay, thank you. And when a bullet leaves a gun, in general terms, does it go in a straight line?
Generally speaking, yes, unless it hits something else or if there's some other type of force exerted upon it.
So generally it goes in a straight line until it hits something.
Generally speaking, yes.
And then what happens?
When the bullet hits something?
Yes, sir.
Judge, I don't know if he's qualified to testify about trajectory. I'd like to take him on board. If he's going to go down this type of, or he thought he was going to do evidence collection.
I'm going to do evidence collection, but he's collecting pieces of bullets.
I mean, I guess I don't know the scope of what he's going to go into, Judge, which I'm happy to do. I just want to make sure I questioned before.
Let me rephrase
Okay.
this and not clear it up.
Thank you.
Would you tell us what a fragment of a bullet is?
Thank you.
When a bullet strikes an object, many times it will basically break off into several pieces. A bullet fragment is going to be just one of those pieces, and they can go any type of direction. I think an old ranger told me one time bullets do weird things whenever they hit something, and they do. They can go in a million different directions depending on many circumstances.
And does it make a difference if a bullet is just a solid bullet or a hollow point or a jacketed bullet?
It would make some type of a difference. However, every one of those I've seen, they have fragmented before.
Okay, the fragment, that just means different pieces, is that
Correct.
correct?
They've come apart.
Okay. And so was your job then, well, first let me ask, did you see places or indications where a bullet had gone through a solid object?
Yes.
And tell us what that was.
There were many of them. Many of the bullets went through glass. Some of them had gone through the actual steel window frame. Once they perforated through the glass or the window frame, they came into the classroom and hit several other objects, whether it was desks, books, ceiling tiles, the wall on the opposite side of the room, just anything in its path was could and did get hit.
And were you able to recover any of those fragments or solid bullets?
Yes.
And were there both? Were there recovery of both, solid bullets as well as fragments?
Yes.
Okay. And in general terms, well, which rooms did you work on primarily?
The rooms that were on the west side of the building. I don't remember the room numbers right offhand. If you have a diagram, I could explain to the jury which ones those were.
I think this is probably a good time to do that.
Tender, you photographed your work, did you not?
Yes.
And before coming here today, did you have a chance to review those photographs to determine if they're fair and accurate representations of your work?
Yes.
And were they?
Yes.
With tender exhibits at this point 23 through
Seems like it's too big. Yeah, it is. I'll cut it off what it is. I'm sorry. It's okay.
23 through 49 at this point.
You have a moment, Judge?
Yes.
No objection, Your Honor.
They're admitted.
And I was just informed that we had to skip numbers because other exhibit numbers were taken, so I'm going to add to the offer 153 through 163. Apologies.
It's okay. No objection, Your Honor.
They're admitted as well. You may publish.
Thank you.
Starting with the first location then.
Thank you.
Okay, if we could start with Exhibit 23, could you point out the room 102 and where it is in relationship to the building?
Your Honor, may I approach the screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, 102, room 102 is going to be highlighted here in yellow.
And I'll next show you State's Exhibit 24 and ask you to identify what we're looking at here.
This is going to be room 102, an outside view, and the two windows that for room 102.
And by looking at the far right window, just to the right of that, what is the perpendicular structure coming up and down right by the end of the building?
I guess I don't know what you're referring to.
Okay.
Are you talking about
Yes, sir.
this?
Yes, sir.
The drain pipe?
Yes, sir. Just a
Okay.
drainage pipe?
Correct.
I'm doing that so that I can identify it in the next photograph.
Okay.
So Exhibit 24 is the window next to the drainage pipe. It shows both of them though.
Yes.
And then Exhibit 25.
This is going to be that window that you were referring to in the previous photograph, and you're going to be able to see some bullet defects in the glass in this window.
And Exhibit 26.
Again, it's a little bit closer angle, but you're going to be able to see bullet defects in the glass of that window.
And how many defects do you see?
Offhand, 3, 4.
Okay. And now I'm going to show you an exhibit that's already been introduced into evidence. State's Exhibit 96. Did you see that same drainage pipe in State's Exhibit 96?
I do.
And would you come to the middle of the jury and just kind of on a pivot show where the drainage ditch is and where
The drainage pipe?
that drainage pipe,
Okay.
excuse me.
So the drainage pipe is going to be right here. So the window, this window would be over this in this direction from that drainage pipe.
Okay.
And these, were you there when the yellow tents were marked to pull up the casings that were at this same location in front of 102?
I may or may not have been. I don't know. I did not mark those.
But if you move to the left of those casings, would that be right in front of that window?
Yes.
And then showing you Exhibit 112 while you're still up here. Is that a set of exhibits that are then further south of Exhibit 96?
Yes, this is going to be the same drainage pipe that we've been talking about in the previous photographs. It's just going to be a photograph taken from a little bit farther back.
Of a second set of exhibits, is that correct?
Correct.
And from where this photograph is taken, or these exhibits 12 and 13, is there anything between exhibits 12 and 13 and the window that you've been showing us?
The only thing I see are going to be some of these flag markers.
Okay, but is there anything between these flag markers and the window? In other words, I'm talking about this black car.
Oh, yes, there is a black car. There's this tree that is going to be in between that.
So if you're standing somewhere to the left of exhibits 12 and 13, would the black car be in front of window 102?
Yes,
Thank you. And that's the window we're talking about now.
correct.
Thank you. You can have a seat.
And closing in, did you then, after taking a look at the outside of the glass windows, did you go inside 102?
Yes,
And is this a fair and accurate depiction of the inside of the classroom 102?
yes.
Would you show us which window had the defects?
Yes, it's going to be the window to the left The window to the right is covered with a curtain. The window to the left is open.